All right. So we are excited to have HITEC Partner Amazon join us today. Our panelists are going to be giving us an inside look on company culture and inclusion initiatives. So super excited to have you all here. Welcome to the HITEC family. Thank you for joining us and sharing with us today. We will have some time for Q&A at the end, so feel free to add your questions to the chat once we get the Q&A portion started. So to lead the discussion, please welcome Nona Renfro. She's a diversity recruiting leader for operations in technology at Amazon. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Hola. Buenas noches. Buenas tardes. I'm so happy to be here. Welcome to our panel. Welcome to Inside the Smile, learning about culture, our culture and career and inclusion at Amazon. So happy that everyone took time to join us today. And I'm excited to have you get to know our panelists. So we're just going to give you a little bit of information about Amazon, just kind of here at the beginning. And then I'm going to do the panelist introductions, panel discussion, and then we'll open it up for some Q&A in closing. But before we jump into, what is Amazon? A little bit about me. I have been with, I'm an Amazonian for 4 years. So I've been with Amazon for a little over 4 years. I'm based out of Dallas, Texas, and I have spent the last 15 years in talent acquisition, leading business recruiting teams and organizations. And then I most recently in the last year took on head of diversity recruiting for our organization and operations technology. So super excited to be here today and be partnering with HITEC and help give you some more information about Amazon. So really just, what is Amazon? Hopefully everyone knows who Amazon is. Hopefully, you're shopping with Amazon during this COVID culture and we're helping meet some of your needs, where everyone can't get out. But Amazon, Amazonians within the company really, they strive to delight our customers. You've probably maybe read something in the press or heard something about our customer obsession. And that's really what we strive for. We're striving to delight our customers, to make customer lives easier, and that's whoever the customers may be, whether it's business owners, sellers, vendors, candidates, employees, consumers. We are customer obsessed. Today we're going to talk about some of our leadership principles. There's 14 of those, and customer obsession is one of those. So you'll learn a little bit more about customer obsession. And then just in our pursuit of, being obsessed with our customers, Amazonians across the world have developed many products and services that really transform the way that you live your lives as a customer, you run your business. And, our goal is to build the future together, have really super creative, innovative technology, product and service, and just be thinking ahead, like what else can we do for our customers to make them happy? And, being an Amazonian, that comes with a lot of pride, and, we live our leadership principles that you're going to hear about. So hopefully you're an Amazon customer. If not, you won't be getting as many boxes at your front door. My family gets really annoyed at all the boxes that arrive every day. Anyway, we'll jump right into introducing the panelists. So we have a wonderful group of panelists today they're joining us. First one is Maria. Maria is a software development manager. Maria, welcome. And do you want to take a few minutes and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hola, mucho gusto. I have been at Amazon for a little bit more than 2 years. I'm based in Toronto, Canada. And before Amazon, I worked for other technology companies as Microsoft and BlackBerry. I also did digital transformation for retail and telecommunication companies. My last role before I joined Amazon, I was a director level, having 4 business units reporting to me. I have worked in 2 different business units at Amazon. One is Amazon Fulfillment Technologies. I was in charge of some of those services inside the data warehouses, where we had to make decisions in milliseconds to decide where the products are going to go or wait, and ensure that the customers would get to the doors, as Nona was saying, right? All those packages at her door, that was part of our goal. And the second team that I helped lead when I was at AFT was labor planning. We use machine learning to ensure that we have the right people at the right time in the right places, so that same thing, we get the packages to our customers on time. Then I moved to customer service in February of this year. The reason why I really love the challenge is because I created a brand new team that were designing and implementing a brand new product. Customer service and customer satisfaction is incredibly important for Amazon, and our job is to innovate and to push those boundaries to ensure that customer satisfaction is something that we'll continue to be very good at. So I'm super proud of my team, and that's what I'm owning right now. A couple of fun facts for me. I was born in Mexico. I moved to Canada 20 years ago, and I was the first person that went into IT in my family. My dad was very confident that I was going to be an accountant, but I really wanted to be in engineering. So I have 2 kids and a husband. My husband is also from Mexico. He's the one with the Canadian crazy idea. So here we are. So that's it. Thank you, Rona.
Yeah, you're welcome, Maria. And just, thank you. AFT, wonderful things happening to ensure everything happens correctly in the fulfillment center. So thank you for sharing. Love Toronto. For the audience, Toronto is one of our faster growing sites outside of the US. So beautiful offices in Toronto. It is a little colder than in other places in the wintertime, but beautiful city, lots of growth. Amazon in general, we put a lot of people internationally into Toronto due to less restrictive immigration rules. We're able to hire many people into both Toronto and in Vancouver. So there's a lot of options for people that are wanting to live elsewhere. And if there's immigration challenges, Toronto is very friendly, and Vancouver as well. So Maria, thank you for joining us today. Our next panelist is Nikhil. Nikhil is a senior manager product management here at Amazon. Nikhil, do you want to take a few minutes to introduce yourself? You might be on mute.
I am, sorry about that. So, hey,
that's okay, happens all the time.
Hey everyone, I'm the worldwide head of product and operations for Core Transportation Technologies. So essentially what my organization owns is a bunch of tier 1 products and services. We have like 50 plus products that basically run our operations worldwide, right? We do everything from like labeling to transportation analytics. So it's, as I said, 50 plus products. I started my career back in India. I was born and raised in India. I quickly moved out to Hong Kong to work with HSBC Bank. I was the Asia Pacific head of supply chain finance for them. I've lived in Hong Kong, London, doing the same thing in Asia Pacific and Europe. Then I moved to the States to do my B school. Post that, I worked in consulting in Wall Street for 2 years. Then I joined Amazon 5-ish years back to start a new team with them, which is known as Amazon Lending right now, where we give loans up to $1 million to small businesses who work with Amazon. So I was the general manager for that team. I actually helped it scale across US, UK, Japan, China, India, Germany, and Mexico, and essentially was leading a global diverse team. I actually left Amazon to join Facebook. I was the head of financial services for Facebook's Novi, which is what they used to call Calibra before. But I liked Amazon so much, I came back in 1.5 years, and I'm back here again. So yeah, in case anybody has any questions about what's special about Amazon over Facebook, I'll be happy to answer that. So I have 2 kids. I live in Seattle with my family.
Great, Nikhil, thank you so much for joining us. And, I love your background. Like for those of you on the audience today, Amazon has people from every area of background you can think of. A lot of people think, oh, I only can get my foot in the door if I'm in technology. I only can get my foot in the door if I've been in operations. And as you heard Nikhil's story, he was coming out of banking and finance and consulting and found a home here. And then luckily he went to Facebook and wanted to come back. And so we have a lot of boomerangs that leave Amazon, go get more, experience, whether it's, breadth and depth, and come back as a boomerang. And so there's just so many opportunities at Amazon we'll learn more about today, but Nikhil's story is one that really shows, you don't have to have just a traditional degree or path to get your foot in the door here at Amazon. So Nikhil, thanks for sharing. Our next panelist is Anselmo. Anselmo is an AWS solutions architect. Welcome. And Anselmo, do you want to take a few minutes and introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure, thank you. Hey, hola a todos. My name is Anselmo Martinez. I'm an AWS solutions architect here in AWS. I am located in Tennessee. So I am in Memphis right now, but I'll be moving to Nashville, Tennessee next month. So I need to brush up on my country music and all that for sure. So I've been in the company since January this year. Before that, I was a senior manager of global networking in Hilton worldwide. So I was in charge of the networking there for cloud and data centers and more than the 5,000 hotels we had there. Um, Great company. I really wanted to be in Amazon. That's why I am here now. And I've been in the country for 7 years now. I am originally from Monterrey, Mexico, and I actually became a U.S. citizen in December, and I was able to vote this week, so I am happy for that.
Yay!
Yeah, it's a huge milestone in my life. But yeah, I'm originally from Mexico, and I lived in Guadalajara as well. Maybe you guys are familiar with those cities. My accent in Spanish is a little bit rough because I'm from the north. I'm sure you guys know that. Some people think that I am angry or whatever, and I'm like, no, I'm just
Passionate.
talking. I'm just passionate and talking normally. So I graduated from the Universidad Autónoma de Nuevo León in Monterrey, Mexico, and I got a chance to do a partial master's degree in German. I'm sorry, in Germany. I was in the University of Stuttgart, so I learned some German. Um, fun fact about myself is I like to learn languages. I speak some German. Thank you. I speak some German, Portuguese, obviously English and Spanish. So I do like to get to know people from other countries and geographies. So that's something that I like. So I am married. So my wife and my son, he's 2 years old. Definitely keeping us busy. And so yeah, that's who I am.
Anselmo, thank you for joining us today, and congratulations on your citizenship and voting. So that's super exciting, and congratulations. And welcome to Amazon. You know, really, you're a newbie, but now, you know, at this point, you know, 10 months in, you're tenured.
Yeah.
And happy to have you. And you know, obviously, I know probably having a toddler at home, you'll be able to share a little bit about what it's been like for work-life balance and just managing in the COVID culture. You know, obviously you joined right before COVID really hit, so I'm sure you have some things probably to share about really how you've acclimated and adjusted to that. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
And our final panelist is Alejandro. Alejandro is a manager of security and engineering here at Amazon. Alejandro, do you want to introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Of course, happy to. So I'm Alejandro Villegas. I'm also from Monterrey, Mexico. So I'm glad
Oh, great.
We speak in a very unique, peculiar way, I guess. So people can get yeah, so I oversee all the information security for all the physical stores. So the portfolio includes anything from Amazon Go. Hopefully, some of you have got the chance to see it in person or on a video. It also includes Whole Foods. We have Amazon Fresh. We have bookstores. So in essence, any type of physical retail store that gets associated with Amazon typically goes through my team. And we look at the engineering side, and that involves not just like software, it also includes the network, includes cloud services. And so I'm very lucky that I get to work with all kinds of engineers, even like mechanical, electrical, civil, from my InfoSec perspective, which is pretty unique. And I have been at Amazon for about close to 5 years. This is my second role that I really enjoy. My previous one was in the finance space, actually. I got to build the secure engineering team for Amazon Finance, which is essentially like Amazon's, back-end financial system. And so it's very unique, very different than what I do right now. But it's funny because when I was going through school, as you can see, some of my background, it's almost like I was experimenting. So I did computer science, I did IT, and then I did finance. And then as a hobby, when I was at Microsoft, because I had a good tuition reimbursement, I decided to became a lawyer back then, but I just wanted to understand the law. But now when you see that in reality, when I was with the previous team at Amazon, I was on finance, so I had to understand cash flows, I had to understand 10K reports to be able to secure them. And having a diverse education has really helped me. Even today, I work with legal for privacy, security requirements for different global entities. So I don't know, it was a fun empirical experiment when I was going through school, but it has been really paid off. So I definitely think that diversity in education is also important. And yeah, so I mentioned, I'm from Monterrey, Mexico. I have been in the US. I moved here after finishing high school for the Tec de Monterrey. Then I went to University of Houston, got my bachelor's, got a couple masters, one on computer science and engineering, another one was an MBA, more on the business side of things. And then I got my law degree here in Seattle University. But yeah, really enjoying Amazon so far. And for something fun about myself, my wife also works for Amazon. My son works for Amazon. So right now that we're working from home, it's almost like we have a mini Amazon building. We have giant conference rooms so we can have those private sessions for confidential events. But yeah, happy to be here, and hopefully I can share some valuable information that can help your careers.
Well, thank you for being here. Wonderful educational background. That's outstanding. What an accomplishment. And definitely, I think, especially in your world now, everything that you, from an education perspective, I'm sure I'll play into that, because security is our priority, to keep your information secure, to keep our, facilities secure, but just our technology secure. And as we all know, there's lots of hackers in the world that's what they want to do, is come after Amazon. So I'm sure having that background really has helped you as a leader be able to manage your function much better, just because you have the educational background to go with it. So thank you for joining us. And it's outstanding you're an Amazon family. So how fun. We're going to jump right into the panel discussion now with our panelists. And, what we want to do today, it's really open, but we really want to just share with you some things around innovation and technology, around diversity and inclusion here at Amazon, career path for those of you that might be interested in getting your foot in the door here at Amazon. We're going to talk about the leadership principles that I mentioned and our culture. So we're going to start out with innovation and technology. And, people always have the questions, especially from the tech side, that come up and they really want to understand, especially if they're wanting to interview and come in the door, in software engineering. So I'm going to pose the first question to Maria. What coding language and what technologies does your team use at Amazon?
So my team right now is building a new product, and we're using NOS technology, which is basically native or serverless solutions. For front end, we're using React, and we're also using Meridian components. We use Meridian framework because it was actually one of our goals to be able to have solutions that are also accessible, right? And that's part of diversity too, to ensure that everybody has an ability to see what's on the screen. So we are building solutions for people with disabilities, like, for example, low vision or color blindness. So we use Meridian components because they have that as one of the priorities, to ensure that everything and all the components are actually having this in mind. For the backend, we're using a lot of AWS products, of course. We're using Landas, we're using GraphQL, we're using DynamoDB for storing all the information. And another language that we're using is TypeScript. So this is high level what we're using in the product, but we also integrate with a lot of machine learning, because we're trying to implement more algorithms to help our team managers and our associates to get those data points faster, right? So instead of all these manual different things that they have to do, we can help them with machine learning and automate a lot of these pieces as well. So this is high level, the languages and technologies that we are using.
Great, and thank you so much for sharing. And I think some of the technologies that I really love is we've developed for our vision impaired customers, that in our Amazon Show device, you actually the coding behind it, a vision impaired customer has a device, can hold like a vegetable can up to the device and turn it until the device recognizes the barcode, and then it actually will then tell the customer from the Alexa portion what is in the can. It'll say this is a can of corn. And so there's just some really great things that we're doing to help our customers. And those are that's some of the technology that I really love that's come out in the last probably year and a half for our customers that are vision impaired. So Maria, thanks for sharing that. Alejandro, same question for you from a security engineering side. What technologies does your team use?
Yeah, so definitely the beauty and the challenge of secure engineering is that we get to secure all the cool stuff, teams like Maria's teams are working on. So we work on the full stack. So we start from supply chain, building all the IoT devices for the stores. And then from a specific programming languages, a lot of things at Amazon across the board are written in Java. Nonetheless, we have pretty much, I won't say everything, but we have good coverage, anything from Python, especially in the machine learning space. We also have Go. We have a lot of several applications. I think Amazon is so diverse when it comes to technology. It's very agnostic. So you'll find pretty much a little bit of everything, all the way, back to Perl, C, C# on the low level firmware stuff. So you definitely get exposed depending on which team you're working for. And in addition to that, obviously we had to support, serverless like Landa and all the AWS services. And we also support the network. So I would say, at least in my position, we get to do a little bit of everything across the OSI layer 7 or the full stack. And yeah, I mean, a little bit of everything. And as a security engineer, you had to be able to at least have a high level understanding of each of those technologies that all the software developers support. I would say something that I recommend is it's about your thought process and the ability to come up with algorithm and solutions in order to be fungible, rather than saying, oh, I'm an expert on programming language, A, B, and C. It's more about the thought process and the understanding of how to, solve challenges or business challenges for customers.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for sharing. Next question is Amazon is, and next question is for you, Anselmo, from an AWS side. Is Amazon is known as being a cutting edge technology company, and how does your team stay up to date with the latest technology trends?
Yeah, so it's always important to stay up to date with technologies, especially because here in Amazon, we come up with a new service every day, basically, if not 1, 2, or 3 or more. So it's difficult to stay up to date for sure. But we do a lot of cross training between us. In my team, for example, there are specialists in different areas. So there is a security specialist, there is a serverless specialist, networking specialist, database, and things like that. So we like to do some cross training, and obviously certifications. Just this last summer, a bunch of people got certified here in AWS because there was some sort of marathon, and some people got like 5 or 6 certifications in just a couple of weeks. So it's crazy, but I think you have to do it for the knowledge, right? More than the recognition, in my humble opinion. So obviously there are some blog posts that we work on. We have an internal video channel here in AWS, and I like to use that one as well to learn new things. And every time you talk to the customer and they are interested in a particular technology, it's our responsibility to be up to date on that as well.
Great. Well, thanks for sharing. Yeah. And it's just, there's so much changing. And I think, what a lot of people, they get a little scared of Amazon because of how big we are, 1 million employees. And, but what people don't know is we run as all like mini companies within the big umbrella. So it's almost like you have a startup feel because we're running in our own business unit. So this team today is a very great diverse representation of the companies within Amazon that we're all on part of those teams for. And so like even for AWS, and I'm operations technology, and we have the physical stores team. So there's a broad range here. And what we do is we offer a lot of tech talks as well. So we really want our employees to be able to learn about technology all across the company. We have tech talks. There's a tech talk. You can attend a tech talk every day of the week if you wanted in some group somewhere. And it's a lot of fun because there's so much development and so much open sharing for our employees to stay up to date on technology trends and learn what other businesses are doing. For Alejandro, how, as security, for security, how do you keep your team organization up to date on the new technology that, hackers are coming after us and different things? How do you keep us safe? How do you keep up to date on that?
Yeah, definitely. Everything keeps evolving as we're speaking right now. Someone could be crafting, some kind of malware or something that can affect and target Amazon. So we definitely use a combination of internal and external resources. Conferences are good. We have internal lunch and learns and video talks and things like that we share. But I would have to say it's like every day is day one, and no one is ever gonna know everything. Everything keeps evolving. AWS keeps releasing new features that I get to know whenever they go to reinvent. So I guess it's a combination of do what you can, have the foundational, but learn and be curious. Be willing to learn from others, and we have resources. So don't expect to know everything. Know that we have, like Anselmo mentioned, we have specific teams that focus on cryptography or application security that you can rely on. At the end of the day, we're a team. I don't expect every of my engineers to know everything. Just have that willingness to know internally and externally about what's happening on the security landscape.
Great, thanks for sharing. Next question is for you, Nikhil. And this came up just, people are wondering because of the scope of the company, who comes up with new ideas and how do you get your ideas adopted within your team? So who comes up with new ideas and how do you get your ideas adopted within your team?
So I think the short answer is anyone can come up with new ideas. I have seen some of the largest ideas come up by engineers, by programmers, even associates who are actually like our operations associates. They also come up with ideas all the time. And the really awesome part about Amazon is we are a very flat organization. Even though we are like 1 million+ strong, we're a pretty flat organization. So that, and regardless of your level, first of all, our titles and levels are like nothing like what are in the industry. Like I think it's like everybody's a manager and everybody's a senior manager here. So the idea that you have visibility, if you have a good idea, there is a standardized process. You write a document, right? You write a PR FAQ. You actually present what your vision is. You actually present how you're going to get to it. You work with whoever you want to work with in order to build that, and you take it to your leadership and you show it to them. And if your leadership believes that, hey, this isn't the right idea for my organization, but I'm going to put you in touch with the person who can actually help you with. That's how most of these products actually get built. That's how AWS got created. That's how FBA got created. Like these were all ideas that, like, it's not as if all these ideas were by Bezos and his reports, right? They rarely come up with the big ideas. It's the people under them, the people who are working or constantly on the products or constantly working in our facilities are the ones who come up with the ideas, who write the document, and who actually present it to leadership then.
Yeah, and that is so true. Like our think big leadership principle, we really mean that. And we don't care, like within corporate, we have levels L4 through L10, and L4 is usually your early career, right out of school. We have ideas brought up from L4s, and we want everyone to be thinking big and bring their big ideas. And we always work backwards from the customer. So that's why, as Nikhil said, the ideas don't come from the top. They're coming from the people in the trenches, the people thinking, working backwards from the customer and trying to meet a customer need. So, like Maria's team, and when they see a gap in something, they're working backwards from the customer and how to solve that problem, how to create something that's better for the customer. So, it's just a great place where you can be super innovative and not be afraid. We have two-way door policy where, meaning, you can go through the door, and if the idea doesn't work or just, something isn't right about it, you can walk back through the door. We really believe in a two-way door policy. So really some exciting things here for people to be really innovative. And I think for Alejandro, like, how are new ideas and features prioritized within your organization?
Yeah, definitely. So just to kind of summarize, we do have ideas. We have, the 6 pages people propose. But when we prioritize, we look at the customer. So whenever we look at the physical stores, is how are we going to benefit the customer? Are we doing the right investment? Are we like inventing on their behalf? To give you 2 specific projects that actually what prioritize that are now on the market that I'm, hoping that some of you have seen it. If not, you can research it. It's online. Is Amazon One is one of them. So that's a way to basically map your hand to a credit card, and basically the next time you go to the store, when you register, all you have to do is your hand. So So if you forget your wallet, you forget your phone, your hand can actually let you into the store. That's one of the technologies. Amazon Fresh is another store that we released in LA. And we wanted to take the Amazon Go technology to the next level. So if you look at Amazon Fresh, look up for Dash Card, something that's publicly available in LA. And that card is like an IoT smart card. So you can walk around the store with the card, and as you grab something from the shelf and you put it into the card because you're authenticated with your own credentials, it will actually allow you to just grab everything you want and then take advantage of the just walk out technology that we're offering. So we're making those decisions that actually go into the market. We kind of understand, we have some studies to understand, are we doing something on behalf of our customers? Are we prioritizing for the right things and working backwards and making sure that customer is the first priority behind those decisions? And something that we use at Amazon is whenever we have a meeting, we pretend there's a customer in the room. So the customer has a voice, and then people would advocate, say, well, have you thought about it from a customer perspective? And we try to address it to make sure that we're doing the right decision for Amazon customers.
Yeah, it's like what we say is, what problem are we trying to solve for the customer in those meetings, like really, and work backwards from that. So Nicole and Alejandro, thanks for sharing. And I think if you don't know this, and you can Google this, Amazon is a white paper environment. Amazon does not use PowerPoints. I mean, we do occasionally for certain things like this webinar, but we are a white paper driven culture, and those white papers can be 1-pagers, they can be 20-pagers, but they help us make decisions so much better. Writing is just part of our culture. If people, when they join the company, if they don't feel confident in writing, we have lots of training classes. We have mentors and buddies to help people, improve their writing or just kind of re-engage. When I joined, I had been in, PowerPoint mindset for 10 plus years. And so it was a switch for me to come in and go, okay, I have to write, a 2-pager, like when I'm back in university. And so, but it really helps us make decisions. You go into a meeting and that white paper is read at the beginning of the meeting, and you can make decisions and have conversations much easier and more focused in our white paper world, is what I've seen. So, well, let's talk about diversity inclusion. Has been, obviously a lot of people have questions, and, knowing Amazon's so large, and how do we ensure, we have lots of diverse talent in the organizations, and we're inclusion and things like that. So we're going to go into some of those questions. Maria, I'm going to pose the first question to you is, what are you doing to ensure that you're valuing all forms of diversity and inclusion within your own team? So how do you promote diversity and inclusion, a safe space within your team?
I think that
you might need to get a little closer to your mic. It just sounds a little far away.
Can you hear me now?
I think that's better.
Yes, okay. So it's always about, I think it starts with hiring. And in IT, one of the aspects that I saw as an opportunity was to bring more females into the team, right? So when I started, they were all male, and you have to be very purposeful about spending the time to bring that diversity to the team to start with. So I spend a lot of time working with my recruiting team, going through all the resumes, identifying a more diverse pool of candidates that we can bring in, right? So now I'm happy to say that I have 4 female engineers in my team, and my entire team has provided comments on, hey, we love it that we have this diversity. We love it that we have different points of view. We love it that now we have more different ideas to the table. So I think it's about bringing people in, but also making sure that you have an open culture where everybody can make their opinions heard. At Amazon, and I like about this company compared to others that I have worked with, we're very open. Like you said, level 4 to level 8 to level 10, everybody has an opinion, and it's about having that culture within your team to start with, where everybody can contribute. We are hearing all ideas equally, and we making sure that everybody's being heard.
Mm-hmm. And being a female in technology, Maria, I know you've in your career have walked into meetings where you may be the only diverse person in the meeting. What has made you successful influencing others when you step into those rooms and things like that? What's made you successful influencing others when you're maybe the only diverse person in the room? And this is kind of throughout your career, not just with Amazon.
That is true. I have been the one female in a classroom all the way to the one female in a meeting room. And I think it's about earning that trust, which is another principle that we have at Amazon. And it's about how I have done this is to basically come to the room with a specific data points, right? And say, here's my experience, and this is why my opinion matters. It's about raising the hand and being at the table. I have seen other female co-workers that they like to stay behind, right? Or they don't want to be up front and they're shy about raising their hand. In my case, what it has helped me is to always be at the table, always make an opinion, obviously take my experience and my data points very seriously. And that's how I influence people, right? With data points, with results, and that's how I'm earning trust.
Mm-hmm. And I think here at Amazon, and thank you for sharing that, because I do know it is tough and it's evolving. Like for all companies, it's evolving to improve diversity within a company, within a group and a team and things like that. And I think here at Amazon, from a recruitment side, we are very strategic in wanting to make sure that we're promoting our jobs and we're connecting with diverse populations where they socialize, where they do professional development. Obviously HITEC is very important partnership for us. And so we, come at it from right up from the talent attraction side. We want to be connecting with a diverse population and then helping them when they get into Amazon. Our leadership principles encourage people to use their voice. We encourage people to have bias for action, to speak up, to learn and be curious. You've already heard some of the panelists already talk about learn and be curious. And we want that in meetings like, we want people to use their voice. And so we really promote those diverse, thoughts and comments and just views and ways of working. So Alejandro, and this next question is for you. When it comes to inclusion, how do you foster an environment within your organization where people who have come from different backgrounds know that you value their ideas?
Yeah, definitely. That's a great question. Something that we do is when I hire people, I get to know them at an individual level. I appreciate the background and everything else, but I want them to know as a person. Before we can have that, earning their trust, I want to be able to work with me and vice versa. When it comes to actually proposing an idea or be able to hear their voice, we focus one on what's the customer and business challenge we're trying to address, and then it's more not just the idea, right? When they propose something, it's going to be data driven, so it's not just an idea; it's a solution or proposal. And having diverse background when we do peer review is very clear where we have the same challenge and sometimes I assign it to 2, 3 different people for that same purpose because they're going to come up with a different solution, different aspect and different perspective. And then when we combine it and we put it together, that's when I really see the value of diversity because I don't want to have multiple engineers that have the same train of thought, everyone agrees, there's always quorum. I actually expect, people to push back in the sense that express their opinions and ideas. And what has helped is that we don't look at it as, people just have different opinions. Is people went to that thought process. They took advantage of their diverse background, all in a holistic view. They came up with a solution. And that's when you can actually see diversity being applied directly to a customer challenge. And so in order to make sure that everyone gets heard, going back to my earlier point about getting to know each individual is we have different personalities, different backgrounds. So if someone doesn't feel, comfortable speaking up during a meeting, I can follow up with them afterwards or find out the best channel for them to communicate and share their ideas. That way they get acknowledged, they get shared. And we have a lot of forums. Informally, we've had potlucks. So like people bring in all kinds of food. I'm a foodie. And that's awesome when we have diversity because we have all types of food around from around the globe. But also it applies when the same applies when we're actually working on a project because you get so diverse and different perspectives that I maybe have not thought about. When it comes to security, you mentioned that earlier. Amazon is doing okay. I think we're a potential target when we had to look at it from a security perspective, and all those potential actors that are trying to do nefarious activity against Amazon and our customers are going to also come from different backgrounds. So if I'm only thinking about security threats from a US or Mexico perspective, I'm missing out. And if I have the right talent on my team, whether it's gender, background, overall demographics, we had to be ahead of all the attackers worldwide. It's not like we only can have malicious activity from one country, one background. So if we were not encouraging diversity at Amazon within my team, I think we'll be, behind, the potential adversarial individuals on our side.
No, I think you're spot on. I think when we think about our customers, we have to be as diverse as our customer base. And if we're not, we're not serving our customers because we don't have those different diverse thoughts and voices in the room. And so, we really strive to achieve that. Are we perfect? No, no company out there today, has a perfect diversity mix in their employee base, but we strive really hard to have a diverse employee base as diverse as our customer base. We have KPIs that our leadership team puts out annually every year, and every organization has diversity goals that they need to hit, and we all strive towards that. There's KPIs. People are held accountable for hiring and developing. It's one of our LPs. Managers and leaders are very focused on looking at their organization makeup and looking at ways to improve, in the female space and the underrepresented minority space. And we have targets for those. And so, we don't just talk about it, but we really actually have targets that we need to be green at the end of the year. So it's a work in progress because obviously, there's always work to be done to improve diversity. But, it is a place where we have a very focused and dedicated leadership to help us, stay the path. So I'm going to jump into the next question, which is always very popular, is culture. Everyone hears about, obviously everyone hears how big Amazon is. They know how busy we are. There's all kinds of things in the press and on Twitter and, things that happen in the warehouse, the fulfillment centers, that in the hourly space, happens at every company, whether you're Amazon, Walmart, Target, whoever has a warehouse and fulfillment. And, those always come with challenges. And so people always ask about work-life balance. And in COVID, it's been very challenging. But Nikhil, I'm going to pose this one to you is, what is your work-life balance at Amazon, and how do you manage?
Yeah, so I think my work life, again, Amazon, like all the places I've worked at, it's like I've never worked at a 9-to-5 place. I don't think such places exist. A lot of people are always searching for a true 9-to-5 job. I don't think they exist. Like really fast-moving, high-growth companies like Amazon. My work-life balance is something I've learned, right? It has evolved over the years, right? When I started at Amazon, I was all gung-ho. I just wanted to work super hard, super late. And I realized that's not sustainable, right? Amazon is the sort of place that will allow you to set your own boundaries, right? Our managers and everybody else will allow you to set your own boundaries. You want to work 10 hours, go for it, right? You want to work 8.5 hours because you have family to take care of, people will understand that. So right now, my work-life balance, I have a very diverse, globally based team. So it's kind of lopsided. I wake up really early for my calls. I stop, I have breakfast with my family during COVID. I just go back to work again. I have my afternoons free because I'll be taking calls at night, right? But then again, it's about what works for you. Generally at Amazon, it depends on your role. It depends on the kind of project, and it's very cyclical, right? It's like for us in operations, going into November is crunch time, right? This is the time when we actually have to be completely on the call. We have to be available. So our work-life balance does become like less harmonious at this time. But generally during the year, it's better, right? Because essentially it's not peak, things are running fine, and we really don't need to worry at those points, right? So I would say it's very subjective, but it's basically, if I had to answer in a sentence, it's what you make of it. You can set your own hours, you can set your own goals. It depends on how you get there. And I don't think anybody at Amazon is going to micromanage you.
Yeah. And I think peak season, you're in the middle of that, Nikhil, and that's a whole different beast, and again, it's because we're trying to make sure our customers' needs are happy. So there are different hours that people work during peak to ensure that, people are getting their packages for the holidays and having that customer obsession. So, and obviously having children 5 and 1, and you're in a work from home environment, I know that's been challenging, but sounds like you've been able to balance very well.
I have, yeah. The support is there from my leadership. I think everybody has the same challenges, right? I think the higher up the chain you go, everybody has kids at different ages, so they all empathize with this. And like I have been in like very senior meetings where somebody's kid is like running in the background, and they are like, you know what? I'm invading. Like you have to understand, you're invading their space, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not as if they are invading your space. So essentially, and everybody in Amazon, as I said, like nobody micromanages. Like nobody actually tells me to like, hey, are you on the clock? It's still 3 p.m. Like that is not the culture we have. I have a goal, I'm going to deliver it, and nobody asks questions about it.
Right. Yeah, definitely within the corporate culture, within the warehouse and fulfillment centers, they are time clock based and, things like that, in the warehouses, but again, very similar to all other companies with those functions. And Selma, I'm going to ask the same question to you, just given the fact that you have been with Amazon now 10 months, started in January 2020. You have a toddler that's 2. How have you found work-life balance here compared to where you came from?
Yeah, so it's different, and I want to publicly thanks my wife, because she's being really great at keeping him busy and occupied, so I can work. But sometimes he comes and visits me here in the office, and he actually says hi to people when I am in meetings. He raises his hand and he's like hi, and he loves computers at this age, and I'm just amazed by looking at him, how interested is he in technology at he's 2 years old now. So but other than that, when I finish working, I try to just go outside with my family, and we go for walks to the park. During the weekends, we try to do as much as possible. We went for like I'm saying, like walks, and we went to the downtown, and we walk next to the river, things like that. Because I think ultimately you have to remember that you are working for your family, right? You're working to have a better private life, right? It's not just about the technology or the promotion or anything like that. It's about having that just making sure your family is taken care of, basically. So you have to remember that.
Great. Well, thanks for sharing. So just being mindful of time, we're gonna have some career path questions and then talk about leadership principles. So I think we'll start with just really a quick kind of a round robin, kind of a quick 10 seconds each. We'll go around the room. What attracted you to Amazon? So we'll start with you, Anselmo. What attracted you to Amazon?
So for me, it was a challenge, right? To be here. It's not easy, because you have to go through a series of interviews and all that. But for me, it was the challenge of being in such a solid company, global company. The values and the principles. I was lucky enough to have a connection inside the company, and this person will share with me about just a day-to-day life here in Amazon. What would it be to work here in the company? And I really like that.
Great. Alejandro, what attracted you to Amazon?
Yeah, for me, I think you mentioned this. I think a good definition of Amazon is a conglomerate of a bunch of different startup companies. So two things that attracted to me based on my research was every single one of those units is very autonomous. It's very like it's not a top-down decision. It's very independent. And then the second thing for me was the ability to stay agnostic. My previous company, Microsoft, it was very Microsoft technology focused. Here I can work with Microsoft, AWS, and even sometimes through the acquisitions, I even get to work with additional technologies from other companies. So be able to have an opportunity to keep learning, and then be able to like go across the street, work for another of those startup companies under the same umbrella to completely learn something different.
Great. Well, thank you. And Nikhil and Maria, I'm going to ask you a little different version of the question. Since you've been with Amazon, you you've moved around within teams. You haven't been in the same team the whole time. So Nikhil, what has drawn you to other teams within Amazon?
I think it's the opportunity to do something different, right? Amazon has this fail fast culture. It's about having the opportunity, and this is very rare, like if you were outside of Amazon, but it's very common in Amazon, is the opportunity for you to actually come out of your comfort zone, learn something new, take a huge career risk, but in a very safe environment, right? Where you are not going to, like, it's not as if it's changing teams within Amazon is equivalent to almost changing your career, your industry, and your job, right? It's a completely new team, it's a completely autonomous team, and it's a very safe environment. They know you're taking a risk, they are taking a risk, and they enable you to actually take that risk. So I totally love that about changing. And the second thing is having the opportunity to continue working with some of the smartest people I've ever met, right? I think that's what keeps me at Amazon. That's what also brought me back at Amazon. It's like there are many instances where you're in a room when you know you're probably the least smartest person in the room is when you know you're learning the most, right? And I think I have that almost on a daily basis here. It's like that's the learning I have, and that's what I really love about like staying back at Amazon.
Yep. And Jeff Bezos says that too. He says if he's the smartest person in the room, then we're in trouble. And so we embrace that here. We want people to learn from others, learn and be curious in the room with others. Maria, what's drawn you to other teams within Amazon?
I think it's similar to what Nikhil mentioned, but it's pushing myself to do something different, the innovation, the ownership, the empowerment that Amazon gives you to build something new, right? So I think it's part of the customer obsession, the invent and simplify, and make sure that we deliver the results. That for me has been a very interesting challenge now that I moved to creating a new team, a new product with new technology. It was out of my comfort zone, but it was a very good opportunity for me to learn, to grow, and to grow my team.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing, both of you, all of you. We're going to talk about leadership principles really quick, and we're having an open Q&A. So we have this screen up here on our leadership principles, and you can Google these. I know Liz shared the link in the chat window, and these guide us. We live by these in our day-to-day work life. I use them in my home life sometimes, which annoys my family. I need my kids to have bias for action to do their homework. But this is something we live by, and it guides our decisions. It guides our thinking, it guides our innovation. And so for the panelists, just really quick round robin, tell me your favorite leadership principle and why. And we'll start with you, Maria. What's your favorite leadership principle and why?
I think we have talked about it a lot, but it's super important. And that's why I picked Amazon as a company to work for. It's customer obsession. Mm-hmm. When we deliver these white documents, we start with a press release and we say what the customer is going to say about this product if we launch it today, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the customer working backwards.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Alejandro, favorite leadership principle and why?
Yeah, I think all are important, and it's a balance. You cannot do one without the other. You have to find the balance. But for me, at least, is earning trust. Because, for instance, on the security space, if I lost trust from my customers, they can easily walk and go to the next store. And I think if I don't like deliver for my team or anything else, I lose their trust. So I think earning trust is very important across the board. Or customers, my peers, my leadership. If I lose their trust, I mean, it'll be very difficult for me to work in this space.
Mm-hmm. Great, excellent. And Anselmo, favorite leadership principle and why?
I think for me is bias for action, because you have to be intentional of what you want to do, where do you want to be in the next 5 years or so. So if you make a plan for that, you'll get there. So bias for action for me.
Excellent. And Maria, your favorite leadership principle and why? Or did I start? I started with you, Nikhil. I'm sorry. Yeah. Nikhil, favorite leadership principle and why?
So it's all right a lot. I think it's just the nature of the business that I am in. We have like $1 billion+ of like a P&L that my team leads, and essentially we take really long-term bets, and we have to go off of intuition. There is very limited data at times, and we need to know that we are correct, right? But the principle also allows us to change our mind. right? Failing fast, I know everybody likes to use that as a mantra, but failing fast is easy, right? It's basically digging in and actually going through the rigor to make sure that the assumptions that you made are still correct. You're still continuing to hold on to the initial thought process that you had, and having the ability to change your mind when you know better. That's what R write a lot gives me. And I think given the companies I've worked at, I'm like, R write a lot isn't something that is like celebrated anywhere else. It's basically whatever the most senior person wanted is what people did in banking and at other places. At Amazon, it's not the thing. It's like whoever has the most information or anything takes that decision, and they just hold on to it. They're responsible for it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, thank you all for sharing that. My favorite leadership principle, being in recruiting is hire and develop the best. So, my team's job is to help hire people. And I love the fact that hire and develop the best is tied to all leadership. And they have KPIs about developing. So we are a very development strong culture. We offer tons of trainings, buddies, coaching. We have a wonderful mentor organization that people have mentors all across the globe. We have affinity groups of everything you can think of around the globe, where you can get involved for based on diversity, gender, interest, wonderful affinity groups. So for me, it's hire and develop the best. So we're going to open it up to some Q&A. So I think Viviana, I think you're going to help us with the questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we can take a couple of questions. I see Angela with her hand up. Angela, do you want to go ahead and give us your question?
Yes, thank you very much, Viviana and the HITEC team. I love these sessions. Thank you, the Amazon team. I love that, Nona, you picked different areas of the organization to get a sense of the culture. I actually typed my question so that I can be specific because I want to give you some context. So I am a mature professional who went off from technology world to do some consulting and entrepreneurship. Because of COVID, I find myself pivoting and trying to get back into the corporate world. And I'm finding it difficult to engage with recruiting staff because a lot of these young professionals, as you see here, are so well-rounded, that they have had so many opportunities through technology to become the best of the best. And here I am, a 30-year-old veteran, trying to find an opportunity again. And at times, and it's been my personal experience, I feel a little bit irrelevant because I chose the path of, training into soft skills. Like now I'm taking a master's in coaching. But when I apply for those roles, they say, well, you don't have HR experience, et cetera, et cetera. So my question to you, Nona, is from a recruiting perspective, how do you evaluate candidates that already come with talents, with experience, with a track record, and that have a lot of transferable skills? Do you take into consideration these skills and, people that don't need to be developed? And do you follow a scorecard for hiring that is the same one that the hiring managers use to make a fair evaluation?
Yeah, no, great question. And I think there's a lot of people on the job market and it can be tough. And, at scale, we get over 1 million applications a week at Amazon. And so there's a lot of people for the recruiters to go through. But what we do is we look at someone's resume, and first and foremost is we look at the basic qualifications of the job description. And then we look at the person's resume and say, does this person meet our basic qualifications? So if basic qualification says, you must have 5 years HR experience, 2 years leadership experience, and that resume doesn't show us that, then the recruiter will quickly say, doesn't meet basic qualifications, and move to the next person. So what I would recommend is definitely studying the job description, looking at your resume, see how it lines up to the basic qualifications, and that will help. I encourage you to, think about buzzwords that would bring you up in a search query in LinkedIn. This session right here, we will get to spend some time with you. You're going to have some contact information for our team. We're happy to get some time with you and go over your resume. I just met with Melissa earlier this week and helped her with her resume, and we're working on some things there. And so we're happy to help. And to the scorecard question, we are aligned with the hiring manager. We have a very, I guess, tight scorecard interview system here, which I love it. It's the best I've ever seen at any company, and it's fair across the board. It's consistent and doesn't change. So we do use the same scorecard. So great question, and I look forward to talking to you after this meeting.
Wonderful, thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Hi, this is Mario. How you doing? Great presentation, and thanks for inviting us to attend. I'm not from Amazon, right? I work for Intel, and I'm very interested in the comments that you made that you always have someone representing the customer voice at the table. How do you do that? Is everybody playing that role, or do you have like a designated person that does that during meetings? Or I'm trying to understand a bit more. How do you implement that? I think it's a great BKM, you know.
Nikhil, do you want to take that?
Yeah, I'll take that. So I think that's a great question, right? So it's primarily everybody's responsibility to really be empathetic about the customers, because at the end of the day, I think Amazon has built that culture, but we are also all Amazon customers, right? I have a Prime account, my family has a Prime account. Whenever somebody is taking a decision, I think this is where it comes down to what we call as product intuition or product sense, right? Some people have product sense where we know how a product needs to be, but all of us have product intuition, right? If I bring a product in front of you, you as a customer should be able to say, this doesn't make any sense, right? Or this doesn't look so good, or this will be like going against my privacy. So we do encourage everybody to have that. But there are certain situations where you are going up to like leadership meetings where there is a designated leader, and usually the most senior most leader basically says, I'm going to be the voice of the customer over here. We are going to hold ourselves to a higher bar because everybody else might have a vested interest in getting the project through. There is one person out there who speaks for the customer regardless of the vested interest. And that is the person sometimes is designated as, okay, this person will primarily speak from the customer standpoint. But generally, I think across the company, like customer obsession is one of our most like required leadership principles. So all of us do try to play that part.
Thank you very much. That makes me wanting to work for Amazon.
Yeah,
well, we would love to steal you from Intel. Anselmo, go ahead.
I was just going to say, working backwards from what the customer is telling you. That should be your main focus. What the customer, just listen to your customer, have a connection with him or her, and understand the thought process on their side, where exactly they are coming from, why they are asking you X, Y, Z, things like that. And then it's your responsibility to come internally and spread that word internally and say, hey, service teams, the customer is asking for this request. We don't have it right now, but what about if we come up with something new for them? Just try to be creative and work with internal teams as well.
And just to add to what Anselmo just said, right? Every one of our documents starts with the first question of who's the customer. And the second question is what is the customer's problem, where we have to have a data-backed answer about what is the customer's problem. And the customer could be internal or external, but we have to start all documents with that. And then we get into how is the customer solving its problem. So that's where we actually talk about if there are competitors who do it better. And then we answer the question like, can Amazon do it better, right? And that is where all the documents basically start from that standpoint. So that's the customer backwards thinking. It shows up like it has to be there in every document.
Thank you so much. I wish we could take more questions, but we are a little bit beyond time. I'm hoping that the Amazon team is open to sharing contact information for those that want to reach out. But I want to thank all of you for joining us today. It was really such a pleasure. So thank you for sharing your insights and sharing with our community a little bit more about Inside Amazon. So thank you all so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Viviana. And we will share our information so we can have some post conversations with people.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. And everyone have a fantastic Friday. Take care.
Great. Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Gracias. Gracias.
Gracias.